probably expecting the question, but how has Ryan looked in these first few weeks, and how is he progressing and getting used to everything he's got to do?
He's done a great job. I think all the young guys, that was the big. Obviously, we've got things that we wanted to work on with Jake and things we wanted to work on with the young guys. And I'm really pleased with all of them, how they've progressed.
Is there a definite number 2 behind Jake right now?
No, not even close.
What did y'all want to work on with Jake?
The number one thing that when we look back, we had a list of things for our whole offense, really. But number one at the top of the list was protecting the football. So we've done a better job, in my mind, and unless we go through the spring with 0 turnovers, it's not where we want to be. But I think we've done a lot better job with it.
With those young guys, what do each of them have to do before you're comfortable having to count on them to come into a game if you need to?
Well, again, there's a long list of things. Number one is protect the football. I mean, if we can do that and play good defense and run the ball and do those things, then we got a shot. So that's the number one thing by far that we've talked about all spring long, and we'll continue to. After that, it's game management, getting first downs, just making sure that we're getting into the right plays, going to the right, we have a lot of options based on, what the linebackers doing, what the defensive ends doing, what the safeties are doing. So if they're running the offense the way it's supposed to be run and protecting the ball, we feel comfortable putting them in the game.
How would you assess Ryan's aptitude as somebody who comes in here as a true freshman, early enrollee, compared to what you've seen in the past?
I don't like to compare to anybody, but he's done a really good job. I mean, he studied really hard. As soon as he signed and we were allowed to start sending him playbook material, he was begging for it. And you can tell he's worked hard on it. So, again, I'm very pleased with how he's progressed.
When Jake gets into trouble with his passes, what is it that he is doing wrong from what you've viewed on tape?
Well, again, anytime there's an interception, it's a lot of different things. Yeah. Sometimes it's not even the quarterback's fault.
Right.
So there's certain things, but number one for most quarterbacks is decision making. If a guy makes a great decision, just that the ball sails on him a little bit, we'll work on his mechanics, that type of stuff. But the decision making stuff is what gets you into trouble. And like I said, that's not just him, that's all quarterbacks.
Have you seen better decision-making this spring?
He has. He definitely has. And, again, that's been a big point of emphasis.
Dan, how much has DeCarrion progressed this spring from what you've seen the past year?
I think he's done a great job. I mean, he's, when he came in, he was swimming just because his offense was so different than what he had run in his career. So the fact that we were asking him to do a lot of different things that he had never done hurt him, obviously. But, again, he's a guy that he wants to do so well. I mean, he works as hard as anybody. He's in there watching film, studying the playbook, and he knows it and has a really good spring so far.
A word some of the other guys, players, and coaches have used with him is patience, as in not taking off to run at the first sign of trouble. Have you guys worked with him a lot on that?
Well, it's all about, going through your progressions. Obviously, he can run, so you don't want to take that away from him. So we give him his progression. Hey, if this guy's open, you throw it to him. If not, you work through, and when everybody's covered, then you take off running.
Is that something that you might have to kind of tweak a playbook if he's in, with the ones as opposed to a Jake or a Ryan?
We could always create, those type of plays. I would never call a pass play saying, hey, just take off running.
Right.
So, again, I want him to read his progression and run when he has to.
Going back to Jake and mentioning how not all interceptions are on the quarterback, off the top of your head, how many of the interceptions you had last year
I don't
weren't
know.
his fault?
I don't know.
Yeah.
In theory,
We had too many, that's all I know.
Yeah.
in theory, if a quarterback ends a season with 0 interceptions, is that perfect, or is that a guy who's not taking enough chances? Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I don't think there's a true answer to that question.
Right.
I understand what you're saying, but if he throws 0 interceptions, but he's never thrown it to open guys, he's not going through his progression, then that's not perfect.
Right. Do Jake's more of his come due to physical mistakes or bad decisions? Would you?
Again, it's a bunch of different things. Sometimes it's not even his fault.
Right.
But that's I tell him we can only work on what you can control. Yeah. So that's what we're controlling is decision making. That's the number one thing, like I said, for all quarterbacks that we work on.
How would you, one of the things that probably has impeded him is the fact that at times you've struggled to keep things balanced as far as play calling. The run game hasn't been effective. How much of that do you think has impeded his career progress?
Well, a lot of our stuff is based on, if we're not running it, it may be because they're putting too many guys in the box. That's why we're actually throwing it. So it's not like, we say we're not running the ball. We're calling a run play, but they bring too many guys. It's built in, sort of the RPO triple option thing that we're going to throw it. So I don't think that's an accurate assessment. But you know, one thing